I think this is part of one of the most critical debates happening in American society right now. And it's a debate that the owners of the media have largely stepped away from. This has to do with the freedom and the independence of the media, not just for the sake of those of us who work in the media, but for the sake of the public, for the American people. We're not public employees in the sense, but we are servants of the public. I really believe that. I've been doing this for 40 years. On election nights, I always sit there at the end of the night once all of the votes are more or less counted. And I marvel at the fact I've been part of this great democratic process of peacefully changing governments or peacefully re-electing a government, if that's what the public wants. The issues of media control, the issues of government attempting to interfere with the working of a free press, I think the public's starting to realize that's one of the most critical challenges and threats to democratic societies today. And that's why I'm here tonight, because I think this is part of that debate. Certainly we've seen a lot of stations being swallowed up by large corporations, which are running 5, 6, 7 stations in this market and want to run more. That stifles voices. And what the most direct effect that I'm concerned about is there are 44 licensed stations in the Seattle market, of which 2 public stations and 2 commercial radio stations, still cover local news. I mean, that's pathetic. We have 40 stations out of 44 that do not report anything. They don't even report the house fires that TV leads with. They just don't cover local news. Maybe they bring in a network newscast. Maybe they've got a lot of talk shows. We had John Carlson, a talk show host from KVI here tonight. He's part of that entertainment talk show business. He's not part of news. He's not giving an audience unbiased, professionally balanced information. He's giving his opinions. All he's there to do is to bring in ratings for his station owner. That's what we've seen here. We've seen the loss of local news. Radio affords the best opportunity, I think, for the public to become knowledgeable of what's going on in their world. Because we sit in our cars for 40 hours a month, commuting, looking at the red lights in front of us. You turn your radio on, you have a wonderful opportunity to become knowledgeable in what's happening in the world. If your radio stations aren't providing local news, you lose that opportunity. And I think that's an insult to democracy, and I think it dissuades people from caring about their democracy and from being involved with it. And to heck with ratings. That's going to destroy our society just as surely as losing a war would. One of the worst things that can happen is for any extreme view to win. The best functioning societies in the world are the ones that are balanced between the edges and function in the middle. Right now, our industry, broadcasting, is being controlled by the fringe of our industry that says, we want this to be a license to print money. And that's all we care about. The Seattle Times was saying, the average profit for a media company is 19% a year, twice for Fortune 500 companies. 19% profit margin, and that's not good enough, because they fire ownership and managers, rather, at radio stations if the profit margin falls below 16%. If your local shoe store hit a 16% profit, they'd be doing cartwheels down Main Street. This is ridiculous. And so we've got to get away from the edges. We've got to get away from the edge that says we have to do nothing but make money, and the other edge that says we have to do nothing but feel good, and be in that middle and give the public what they want on their airways. And our owners aren't fighting that battle on behalf of the public, so the union that represents journalists is carrying that battle for the public.